What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Exploring Attractions. My name is Scott, joined with my fellow other half, as you've seen him on the channel recently and you've seen him on the channel before. Rob, welcome back to the show.
Well, thanks for having me back, Scott. I really appreciate it.
I am so thrilled to have you back on here. You're one of my favorite guests, you know, really my only guest that comes on the show.
Well, I eliminated all the competition, so I am your
Yeah.
only option.
Exactly. As you guys know, Rob's been working with me a lot more, and he brought you the Wonder Woman video and all that coverage. So big shout out to Rob. Which, by the way, if you aren't subscribed already to him, make sure you subscribe down below in the description. And yeah, check out his channel, The Howling Hour. Let's get into 1,000 as fast as possible. And if you're new here, consider subscribing to our channel. Link in description. Just subscribe down below with those bell notifications on and leave this podcast a like. That's right, everyone. We have a podcast today, so we are going to be talking all about different stuff. Really, a big topic of today's show is going to be talking about Nope, which Rob and I both just watched. It's
Yes.
Jordan Peele's new creation. Have a lot of thoughts on it, both good and bad, and both in the middle. So that'll be exciting, especially since we're both literally filming this at 10 o'clock at night.
Yes.
And fresh thoughts. So I'm gonna let you kick it off. What did you think of Jordan Peele's Nope?
You know what? It's a very difficult movie to talk about without going into detail, and that involves spoilers. So I'm going to avoid doing that. But I thought the acting, everyone in the movie, I think did a really good job. I was talking to my buddy who was at the theater with me, and as far as one of the characters in the movie, as far as the way she was portrayed, I had a little bit adjustment with her as far through the story, but I kind of felt it worked out. But I just think this is a different kind of movie. It's not it. I'm not gonna say it's not the movie that we saw in the trailers. It's just it's don't go into this movie thinking you know what it's about. Just go into it. I'd say that's the best advice I can give you is go into this movie not having expectations. Obviously we're gonna compare Jordan Peele's previous movies to this movie, and I think
Oh
that's
yeah,
just
for sure.
that's normal. With any director, Scorsese, Nolan, Spielberg, we always compare directors and their movies.
Yeah,
I think this is a different kind of movie. I think this isn't really a horror movie. I think this is I want to say like a sci-fi thriller with hints of Western elements. I don't think it's his best movie. He's only got 3 movies, so I mean, there's not a lot to
there's
So
definitely room to fail.
yes, but I do. There are things about this movie that I like. There are things that I do not like. But overall, I think it's an okay movie. I still think Get Out's probably his best movie he's done yet. I'm
For
not
sure.
saying he's reached his peak or anything.
Yeah.
You could see in this movie where his mind is, and I like that. I like just he's stepping out and trying something new, and I'm okay with that. But I'm just gonna say this movie is okay.
I think that a lot of what I was thinking afterwards was like, man, and I put it in our group chat. And keep in mind, we're going to be talking spoiler free as much as possible. We're going to be talking
Yes.
a lot about the movie, but we're not going to give away any major plot points per se. Like, we're not going to be like, this person died, etc., etc. But we will be talking the general, plot of the movie, just without giving the juicy stuff away.
Yes.
Also, if you stay tuned, we will be talking about haunts and stuff like that, like Not Scary Farm and different theme park news a little bit later on in the show. But I think everything that you said was pretty spot on. I think the one thing that disappointed me a little bit was the fact that it seems so much to market like horror. And it's almost like you're going in there expecting one thing and you get something completely different. Now I use the word random to describe this movie because it was relatively random. It was kind of all over the place. And as far as just putting together a cinematic masterpiece, Jordan Peele did that. I really think he did. I think all the shots were amazing. The acting was great. Everything about it was awesome. However, I do think it was just extremely random, which I'm a little bit bummed about. Overall, I'd rate it probably a 7 out of 10. And like I said, it depends on what I was going in for, right? If I knew it was going to be sci-fi and thriller only and no horror aspects at all, then I'd be going in expecting that. But the trailer made it seem otherwise, and that's not really anyone's fault. It's not the audience's fault, and it's not whoever created the trailer's fault. That's just the bottom line. It's all to get people excited for it, and obviously I feel like what you said, we're comparing so much Get Out and Us to this film that we thought it was going to be along those lines. Scary, demented, creepy. It really wasn't that at all. So I feel like that's where a lot of fans will have struggle in realizing that this is a different type of movie.
No, I mean, I pretty much agree with you. I think that's why I say go into this kind of, and it's always difficult to do it, but go into it empty slated, just go into it. I would say just go into expecting a sci-fi thriller. That's the best way I can describe this movie.
And that's why we're here to give you guys a warning,
yes,
and
yes.
because it's really hard, reviewing movies and whatnot. I try to stay away from doing it as much as possible because it's hard going in expecting one thing, knowing very well that most likely will be changed. And it was a little bit confusing with this film in specific, but just with films in general.
Yeah, I feel like I have another channel with a buddy where we do movie reviews. So I feel like, and also, I mean, I feel the same way as you, Scott. We've probably been watching movies since we were young, and it's when I go into a theater, regardless of what I see on a trailer, the trailer could be it's a comedy and it's just a comedy, a rom-com.
Yeah.
I clear my head and I say, I'm going to go into this blank slate. So if I end up with a comedy horror, then I wasn't hit in the face with something completely different. I go into it, I'm like, okay. But, again, it's difficult to not compare his previous movies. So that I would think, it's just like, okay, we're going to compare his other movies to this. I don't think this is probably going to be the third, but people could watch this and be like, I think this is his best movie yet. So that's why movies are subjective.
And that's exactly why there's different type of people. There's people who are thinking this is solely a sci-fi. For the people first learning about Jordan Peele and they just knew him on Key and Peele, they could be like, oh my God, he's making movies. Let's go watch this. And they haven't watched Get Out or Us. They're actually going to think that this is a wonderful movie. And not that it's not, it's just their first impression will be that. Whereas over time, me and Rob had to think a little bit about all the different aspects of the movie and be like, how much does it fit in the sci-fi thriller genre, if you guys pick up what I'm saying. So right now, on Rotten Tomatoes, it is, for the first Thursday, that's when we're filming this, it's sitting at 81%, and then the audience score is 78%, so it's dropping a little bit. It's also listed on Rotten Tomatoes as horror, so I know I'm not going crazy or anything, and people just think that we're just labeling it as horror because that's what we think it is. That's what Rotten Tomatoes currently sits at as of Thursday, July 21st. So there's kind of some mixed feelings there, which I feel like will be the general consensus with this film. Like I said, I want to talk a little bit more about the acting. The acting was fantastic.
Yes.
I think that they picked the perfect cast. Favorite character for sure, Angel. Definitely hands down. That guy, he'll fix, let's just say he'll fix all of your technical issues.
I can, and the same way as you, Scott, I can take away, I can look at a movie and be like, okay, whether a movie's good, bad, in the middle, I can separate the acting from, if it's good acting in a bad movie, vice versa. Everyone in this movie did a really good job. Like I said, with one character, I had to adjust to this character, and that had nothing to do with the character. It had just to do with me to being like, okay, this character's coming in kind of hot, but I realized what they were doing with them, and so it worked itself out. But like you were saying, all the acting in this movie was phenomenal. I think it was just it was top level acting. The music in this movie, the sound, the score, the sound effects, everything as far as that element.
This is a very sound design heavy movie, which is awesome. I love that.
Oh yeah, same here. And that goes with them building suspense, and them just kind of you're riding that sound wave of emotion with these characters, and it just out of this whole movie, again, I'm not saying that it's bad or anything like that. I like the movie. I thought it was okay, but the score and the sound design of this movie is just top notch for me. Yeah, I was just like, that's the one thing I'm gonna take out of this movie and be like, just it was ridiculously
I think
good.
it's pretty awesome, and honestly, like I said, aside from the sound design and everything, also the cinematic shots and
Yeah, oh
whatnot, all the
yes,
shots are
yes,
perfect. It is something that movie lovers love. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there as a movie lover, not as a horror lover or a comedy lover or anything like that. Just as a movie lover, can really, really appreciate. So shout out to the whole team there. I think
yes.
Jordan Peele still has a long way to come for the better. He had two amazing hits, and this one's a hit too. Like I said, we are just expecting a little bit different of a genre, but I think that there are so many more movies that he's going to create that are going to wow viewers
You,
every single time he puts something out. It's just going to be awesome.
regardless of whether, like I said, whether it's you think good or bad of
Yeah.
this movie, I'm gonna say, it's creative,
hmm
right there, creative, and so
you
you
put it
can't.
spot on right there. All of his ideas are extremely creative.
Yes, yes. And when you were talking about the shots and the just the way it was filmed and everything,
hmm
there's some night shots in this movie that when you watch other movies, you can get stuff in the background can kind of get lost,
hmm
but the way they lit up certain things at night, and it wasn't like, oh, there's this big spotlight or anything, so you could see what's going on, but just the way they used the shots at night and the way it was kind of lit up, and just the overall night. I was more impressed with the night shots and just how in depth they were, and what, like, just the stuff you could see, and I'm just like, I wonder if they actually
I
shot
think you
this at
bring up a
night.
really good point right there because shooting at night's a very difficult task, and sometimes
Yes,
you can see studio lights. Let's not be
yes, yes,
let's be real here.
yeah,
And I think that the night shots, I would say the majority of the film is filmed during the night, and aside from the last, I'd say 30 minutes where
yeah,
it's all
yeah,
relatively in the daytime. All the night shots were phenomenal, like you said. For
yes,
them to be able to pull off awesome night shots is really hard in the film industry in general. And it's just awesome to see that they were able to tackle that while also having, like you said, perfect little lighting here and there, whether it be on the house, whether it be right next to a horse, anything like that.
yes,
It's just like the perfect lighting, and it's awesome to see that. And like that's why give Jordan Peele props so much, because it's not just him; it's the entire team. And like I said, I think he has a long way to come in this industry, and a long good one. Not saying that he
yes,
has a long way to go to get the credibility. He already has the
yes, yes.
credibility, very much so. I'm just saying he has a lot to show everybody, and this is just the very beginning, and it's awesome.
Yeah, this is the tip of the iceberg for him, at least in my opinion. I think he's just scratching the surface of what we're going to get from him.
Yeah, and I cannot wait for it. It's only the matter of time before we start getting some dramas and other stuff like that, and not just the horror aspect, which I think he really tried to do with this movie, and it just played out a little bit differently. But I'm excited, number one, to experience Nope in person, and that's because at Universal Studios Hollywood tomorrow, actually, they're debuting the brand new Nope experience, Nope attraction. You want to talk to us a little bit about that, Rob?
Well, I mean, it's pretty much pulled out of Nope. You get it's Jupiter's Claim, correct?
Yes.
And from what I understand, it's a VIP kind of thing where you get to walk through and kind of put yourself in Jupiter's Claim straight from Nope. So it looks cool. I've seen some stuff on it. I don't know how much they've actually shown the people that have gone
hmm
there, or if it's going to be different when they actually open it up to the public, but it looks cool, and it's something I would definitely want to do.
A lot of my friends that got to experience it say that they're actually going to take the entire tram in there. However, VIP guests will get to get off and walk around the sets, which is cool. That's typically what they do with the rest of the back lot. Now, I'm just amazed that they can fit the tram back there. I'll be curious to see how the flow is going from there into Fast and Furious Supercharged. I'm really excited to see it. These sets, like Rob said, are straight pulled from the movie.
Yes.
And they're put up there. They even have a giant inflatable. They have the Star Lasso experience, which you guys will learn is a way more of a big topic in the movie once you guys watch it. And yeah, I'm excited to see it and experience that. I'll probably go out next week because I think it's an awesome, regardless of anything, whether good, bad, in the middle. It's a good thing that they're adding something new to the studio tour at Universal Studios Hollywood. I'm all for it, and that's why I think that it fits perfectly in the park. You know, you can't necessarily do a Nope attraction just like a standalone attraction. So why not put it on the studio tour? It fits perfectly.
Yeah, no, I mean it's smart. I mean it's smart marketing for the movie, and they're going to
They're
keep it
getting
there for.
tons of marketing
Oh
from
yeah,
this.
and they're going to keep it there for a while,
Mhm.
at least from what it looks like. Because why would you build a huge set like that and just get rid of
Actually,
it?
I don't know if you caught this, but they have at the end credits scene, they do have marketing for the new attraction at
There you go.
Universal.
Yeah, no. So I think it is smart. You know, again, just like in the movie. You know, I think it's something different. Like Scott was saying, you know, just to add something new to the studio tour, and for a little more, you get to walk through there. So who's not going to
Yeah.
want to walk through the set of Nope?
Who's going to want to experience Jupiter's claim,
There
right?
you go.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about Horror Nights in regards to this. Is I want to say right off the bat, without speculation or anything, I don't think that they can spruce up Jupiter's claim as much for Horror Nights. What I think that they could do, however, though, is after you get off the Terror Tram path, I think they can drive you through that area since they take that route regardless, and they can place some enhanced sound design in the tram and maybe have the lighting all dim and everything in those sets to make it still give you that spooky vibe of Horror Nights while also still marketing Nope.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you. I don't think they're gonna, you know, incorporate it into, you know, the how what we've come to, like the Terror Tram kind of
Mm-hmm.
walkthrough. I think it's gonna be its own. I don't. I would be happy. I'm not expecting them to use it at all. Like I don't think we're gonna get to go through it.
Mm-hmm.
But if we do, cool. But you know, if they decide to use it, I think it's gonna be kind of like you're saying. They're not gonna really put too much. It's gonna be, you know, maybe some sound, you know, maybe some characters here and there as far as maybe just some animatronics or something. But I don't think it's gonna be anything, you know, where it's a full on like walkthrough maze kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree with you because a lot of people were speculating for the longest time. This is Horror Nights related. This is Horror Nights related. And I put out a video saying I don't think it's Horror Nights related at all, which it's not. But there is a potential there of them doing something with it. I think for the first year, probably not. Maybe we do get to drive through it. But as far as this movie goes, and we said it in the beginning, so it's no question or anything like that. There is no really scary aspects to it. There's some jump scares, but they're not terrifying, you know?
Right.
Like I said, I'm not going to say too much, but all I'll say is it's not what you expect when you go to watch it. And you'll know exactly what I mean when you watch. And that's why it can't really translate well to some form of haunted experience, if you guys are picking up what I'm saying right now.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't want to spoil anything, but I totally agree with you. I think it would not translate.
Yeah. But here's hoping we'll get some form of tram animation or something because seeing Note featured there during Horror Nights I think is good for everybody. It's good for the fans, it's good for Universal, and it's good for Jordan Peele himself. But jumping off the whole Nope topic and everything, you know what's back, Rob? What just got announced this week?
Oh, wait, are you talking about Knott's?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking
Yeah,
about. Well,
Scary
okay.
Farm.
Should we talk about the good or the bad first?
Let's talk about the bad. I like to
Okay,
get the
yeah,
bad
you
out
get the bad
of
out of
the
the
way.
way.
Get the bad
All
out
right,
of the
so
way.
Knott's put a new chaperone policy on. Let me pull it up, actually, so I'm not just kind of paraphrasing it here. But this was after the incidents that took place, which nobody still knows the answers to, and Rob and I aren't really going to talk about that because, number one, it's controversial. Number two, we're a friendly channel, so we don't want to talk about that, you know? We will talk about the safety of Knott's, however, though. Okay, so park update. For decades, Knott's Berry Farm has been a place where families and friends come together to enjoy a one-of-a-kind park full of homegrown experiences and immersive entertainment. Millions of guests have counted on us for wholesome family fun, and we're committed to keeping that promise going forward. As part of the commitment, the park will implement a chaperone policy beginning Friday, July 22nd, 2022, remaining in effect on Fridays and Saturdays until further notice. Rob, what do you take away from that?
You're not gonna go to Knott's by yourself anymore, kids. No more dates, no more anything like that. If you're under 18, yeah, I think I don't have an issue with it, although I'm older, so it doesn't apply to me.
Yeah.
You know, but I can't say anything really negative to Knott's because you know they did what they felt was best. Um, I think I don't want to get too much into the reason why it happened, but I read the policies and everything, and I was just like, okay. The only thing I will say, I think it's a I want to say a temporary solution
Yeah,
to
a bigger issue.
a bigger issue. There you
Hmm.
go. Yes, perfect. A temporary solution to a bigger issue, but I'm okay because they're coming with solutions. It'd be different if there was nothing was done. It was just, hands up in the air. What can you do? But
Yeah.
Knott's is trying, so I can respect them for that, and I see the effort.
To bounce off on you on that, I think the situation that happened, first of all, I'm going to give a big shout out to all the team members and everything who tried to de escalate that as much as possible. I think that this is a good step in the right direction to a bigger plan. And I'm happy that Knott's acted quick. I'm all for the chaperone policy, and I get that some kids are mature enough to go by themselves, or around the 17-year age mark, but it's more hurting Knott's than actually benefiting them, letting the kids in by themselves. So I think that this is a good thing. I think that Universal requires something like this, Disney requires something like this, and it's all in the terms of service when you go to buy your tickets.
Right.
I like I said, there's nothing really to argue about here. It's a good step in the right direction, and a lot of the times what parents do is they just drop their kids off there, kind of like a free babysitter, which
Yeah.
is never a good thing. And when it gets to people not feeling safe going to these said theme parks, then that's where the theme park needs to look at themselves and be like, what can we do to make that better? And that's why I said I think it's a part of a bigger plan. I think they're going to
Right.
get better safety training, and just operations are going to change a lot more. I will say, however, though, I think that this policy should be weekdays, and I'm really, really hoping that they apply this to both HHN and Not Scary Farm. Because
Well,
we know with HHN, it is a problem. There's a lot
yes.
of stuff that you guys don't see because there are so many people there on haunt nights, but there's fights all over the place. Just people don't see them as much because, like I said, it's so crowded, they're enjoying the mazes and whatnot.
Yeah, I have doing this, I've built some friendships with people who are characters, and
Oh yeah,
they
that's a whole nother topic that we
yeah,
can go
yeah.
into.
Yeah, they tell us some stories, and it's pretty much like you're saying, like almost every night that something happens. And
Mhm.
props to the security at all the parks who got to deal with this, because it happens, like I said, pretty much every night. But it's just, like you were saying, hopefully, these rules or these policies are implemented
Mhm.
for haunt season. And because I love the children. I
Yeah.
love the younger kids growing up, and getting to see these horror things. But I feel like it should be done with an adult, not just dropped off
Yeah.
when you're 12 or 13.
But now, everyone, we have good news in regards to Knott's, as Knott's Scary Farm announced this week the returning mazes for this year's event. So we have Dark Entities, we have Pumpkin Eater, we have The Depths, Waxworks, Mesmer Sideshow of the Mind, Origins Curse of Calico, and of course Dark Ride. 7 returning mazes. That means that we're getting 2 new mazes, one located in the former Special Ops area, and of course the replacement for Paranormal Inc.
Rest in peace, paranormal.
Rest in peace. And I gotta say, out of all of them on that list, and I've said this in my video, I hope that this is the last year for Dark Entities and for, let's say, Pumpkin Eater.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. You know what? I Dark Entities can go too. I just want them to do the special ops treatment and give me a gun, a laser gun, so I can shoot aliens.
Yeah.
That's what I want from that.
That's
maze.
fine. I would be fine with that. I think that I struggle to see the storyline in Dark Entities, so I'm sorry for all you Dark Entities stands. And I think that is what why it has a 5-minute wait every night. I don't want to say people are all going there for the story. People are going there to get scared. But I think that maze is just the weakest because it always has a 5-minute wait. It could also be because it's hidden behind a building. But, Pumpkin Eater, come on, we all know what Pumpkin Eater. One that should also go soon is the Depths. Not next year, but I think the Depths should also be on the chopping block. For sure.
I think we're probably gonna get the Depths. Maybe we're obviously getting it this year. I think we're getting it next year, and then the year after, it's probably gonna be gone.
Yeah.
Pumpkin Eater, I think at the very beginning of its run, it was
Very
okay.
strong.
Yeah, well, I don't even. I think the first year I went through it, it was a good maze, really
Hmm.
good maze. And after that, it was just I don't know. Maybe it was just me, but I remember I think it was Corn Stalkers over
Hmm.
there, and I love going through that. So I reminded me every time I go through Pumpkin Ear, I'm like, man, I miss
You
Corn
think of corn
Stalkers.
stalkers?
Yeah, but I here's one thing I will say. Pumpkin Eater has a story that I actually like. I don't think it's the greatest maze, but the
Hmm.
story I can get with, which is different than Dark Entities.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of those mazes and whatnot all have their cons and
Yeah.
pros, and I really think that we can spend hours talking about that. We don't have hours today,
Nope.
but I think that we could. One other thing that comes with the Scare Farm announcement, and might I say, a beautiful cinematic. We're talking about cinematic here, Rob. That was cinematic. I mean, let's just talk about how they were still able to mix old announcement videos into this new trailer and still make it look awesome.
Yes.
Like what?
Yes.
And like I said before, I think that Knott does an awesome job at drawing anticipation for returning mazes compared to just announcing the same one with the same exact trailer and then not as many people being hyped for it. But
The mazes I wasn't that excited for when I
mhm,
saw this trailer or
yeah,
this announcement video.
hmm,
I was like, man, I, I
yeah.
want maybe I do want to go through that maze
Like
again.
Pumpkin Eater. There was a
Yeah,
shot in there
exactly.
of the Pumpkin Eater with the eyes, the glowing eyes.
Amazing,
I was
amazing
like,
shot.
what? That looks terrifying.
I was like, what maze is that? I'm going through that
Yeah,
maze.
like come on. Why don't we have lit up eyes in the actual maze? That'd be freaking awesome,
I
man.
mean,
But
it was scary
you know,
looking at it on my phone.
yo no say, man. Yo no say. Something else on top of the returning mazes that was announced. Well, it wasn't announced. It's an unofficial announcement. I'm sure you saw that I posted about this, Rob. The special behind the scenes tours we're getting.
Yes, yes.
So on some of the job posting websites like ZipRecruiter, there's a Beyond the Fog tour guide job posted, and it's labeled as a tour guide that's going to take guests on a behind the scenes adventure through Knott's Scary Farm. What do you make of all this?
It sounds like we're gonna be able to. I don't know if it add on like you do the fright lane and the fast lane and all that. It
Hmm.
sounds like we might be getting some kind of ability to do behind the scenes over at Not Scary Farm, which I'm hoping is true based on the description and that the job hiring thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's going to be so awesome if we can walk through some of those mazes during the daytime because there's so much detail that people don't actually see that people get to walk through them over like in Horror Nights Orlando. They do the Unmasking the Horror Tour and people get to see the nitty gritty details and the Easter eggs. And I know for a fact that Knott's has so many of those nitty gritty details and Easter eggs. So I'm all for this. I think it should be priced somewhere around, let's say, $60. I think that's a fair price, depending on how long it is.
I hope it's $60 because I feel like for something like this, they
Hmm.
could charge, you
I'm
know,
basing it solely based off of what Horror Nights Orlando charges, which is around the
okay,
$80 mark for like three
okay.
houses.
Oh, okay. So
So,
60 sounds about.
mhm.
Do you think if this is the case, how many mazes do you think they would let you
so
walk
I
through?
think that they would do probably
Okay.
three or four for sure. Mm.
Do you think it would? Is it again speculation? Do you
Yeah,
think you would get to pick the mazes, or they already have them
I think it would be
pre-picked?
random, but I think that
Okay.
if the majority crowd, let's say, I want to go through this, I think that the tour guide would be like, all right, let's do that then.
Okay.
That's my take on it because you're gonna be with the whole group. I would hope that one's Mesmer because that'd be freaking awesome. No, one I really want to see is Origins. The detail in Origins is incredible.
Oh yeah.
I would love to see that. I would love to see, believe it or not, I'd love to see Dark Entities during the daytime,
Okay.
which is a shock. But I think that one would be cool in the daytime, which is a
Okay.
shock. That one, and I'd pick probably Origins, Dark Entities, and Waxworks probably.
Okay. I mean,
They're
if we're
my
going with
choices.
4, I would Origins, Mesmer, Dark Ride, and man,
I
I'm
forgot about
trying to
Dark Ride. Yeah, screw Waxworks to be Dark Ride.
think. Yeah, Origins, Dark Ride,
Hmm.
Mesmer, and one of the new mazes. I don't know what it is, but one of the new mazes.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. We gotta add those new mazes in because we don't know what they are yet.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
they'll be there though.
yeah, they will in fact be there. Yeah, I'm all for this. I'm excited for the Beyond the Fog tour because it is happening unless they don't get enough candidates or they decide not to do it because of budget cuts. But this job posting was posted literally July 16th, which was a couple of days ago from us, the time that we're filming this. I want to wrap this podcast up with one last topic, and I know this is more Scott friendly here. But in SeaWorld San Diego, there's actually a new coaster being built. Rob, do you know what that coaster is?
I don't know what that coaster is. What
So,
is that
so let me
coaster?
let me explain it to you, right? So we have the
Go.
Wild
Let's
Arctic
hear it.
Simulator. I'm sure you remember riding it a
Yes.
while back.
Yes. Yes.
Back in
Yes.
the
I
olden
do.
days, because this has been around for a while. It was just a simulator, and now it's just an exhibit, and it actually hosted Deathwater Bayou for last year's Hollow Scream.
Okay. Okay.
There's actually land being cleared because I got on Emperor, and there's land being cleared for this attraction, and there's tons of land. Not only that, there's tons of track being stored in the parking lot for an Intamin family launch coaster. Now this broke news in 2020. Believe it or not, this was supposed to open up in 2021. However, we all know what happened. So now it's actually official. It's not no rumor. There is track on site and there's land being cleared. And I have a whole vlog coming out about it, giving all the details and whatnot. But I am so thrilled for San Diego to be adding another coaster, as Orlando would be doing with their park, and San Antonio. I think that all the SeaWorld parks are, let's say, developing for the better. And I think it's awesome.
I don't get out to SeaWorld much,
Hmm.
but now that they have Hollow Scream over here in San Diego, me and Robin already got our tickets to go, so we're for sure going this year. And I definitely am gonna ride roller coasters over there. So it's exciting to hear that SeaWorld's getting another roller coaster
Yeah.
because I'm excited to ride. I believe Emperor is the new one that they have over there, right?
Yes.
So when we go in mid-September, I will be on Emperor. So any coasters or any new attractions they have over there, it's exciting for me because I'm only going to get out there once a year, and I typically like to get whatever I need to get to be able to ride the roller coasters. So that's always good news to hear that a park is expanding.
Yeah, and for sure for Hollow Scream this year, I'm gonna try my best to get Rob into media night so that we can have a thrilling night. Because media night last year, since it was like preview night or whatever, it was relatively empty. So we're gonna try our best, guys. That
Fingers
all that
crossed.
comes with subscribing to the Howling Hour. It helps out a lot. All right.
Yes.
As you see, Rob is a master of media events at Wonder Woman.
Man, I've gotten so that video is just like
Dude, the POV, man.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I was like,
everybody loves Rob. He's a star.
I was like, do I really sound like that on roller coasters?
The,
I was like,
the
yeah, I guess
Taco
I
Bell
kinda do.
comment was the best.
Yes.
The Taco
Dude,
Bell. Someone
my
said Rob writing Wonder Woman is like the noises he makes after eating Taco Bell.
Yes. And I mean, they're not wrong. So
Yeah,
my
freaking
parents
Chipotle too.
yeah, my parents have been destroying me over the video. They're like, my dad's just like, son, were you making all those noises? I was like, yes, I was, Dad. You try sitting in the front.
Literally on your first ever single rail with no expectation on how it's gonna feel.
Yeah, I didn't know. That's what I try to explain to people. Those straps that come down, they're not like I'm used to the.
They're like
thick
a comfort
plastic.
thing.
Yeah, it's legit like a seatbelt that's coming over you. And like I said in the video, I never did not feel safe. Like I always felt secure, but it's just an unfamiliar feeling. And after, I rode the roller coaster, thanks to, you, Scott, for letting me go there and cover that for you. They let me ride the roller coaster a bunch of times. And, afterwards I was used to it. And I was just like, oh man, how come I couldn't do the video when I'm all like, yeah.
Well,
They got
see,
me
that's
hanging
what I
on for
like
dear life.
because when we get invited to these POVs shoots and whatnot, I always try my best to, because typically let's get into the details of
Let's do
media
it.
events
Let's
for
do
you
it.
guys who aren't tubers and whatnot. Typically, the media events, they invite you at certain time slots to actually get your POV filmed, and they'll give you a time slot to ride the coaster as well. So it'll be like from like this one is 4 a.m. in the morning to like 2 that you could ride the coaster. So you could literally get there at 4 and ride it nonstop till 2 o'clock.
Which
Well,
I did not,
yeah.
because I'm not getting. I wasn't
Dude,
getting up
people
that
were
early.
there at 4 in the morning, and I'm like,
Yes.
props to you guys. Really props to you guys.
Yes.
But I always try my best to ride the ride on media day first when we're actually filming the POV, because I like to get my first reaction. I think I'm really happy that's what you did, because seeing your first reaction, not only was it like terrifying, but you see the genuine joy in your face at towards the end where you're like, damn, this is awesome,
Yeah. Once the fear left, then I was like, okay, this is fun.
Yeah, and I think that's the coolest thing, and I'm so grateful for all of you for helping me do certain things like this and giving me the opportunity to do stuff like this, because it's so awesome to be able to look back at that, whether it be Emperor in SeaWorld or Rob with Wonder Woman, and be like, damn, that was our first reaction, ever. And
Very
it was
cool.
caught on
It was
camera.
very cool.
So, yeah, guys, I think this is a great show. I hope you enjoyed it. There will definitely be more, as I always say, every single one. We got a lot of podcast topics to talk about, and they're all coming around. And Midsummer Scream will be next week, or this week, depending on when I release this. And you'll definitely see me and Rob in the vlog, and just in vlogs in general. So, for sure, make sure to subscribe to me with those bell notifications on. Leave this video a like. Subscribe to Rob, The Howling Hour, down below in the description. Positivity is key. And always, keep exploring. I messed it up a little bit, but you guys will get what I mean. So, peace out, y'all.